it is about urban mechanics, but it rather changed to rules of the game, implicit rules, explicit rules. And when we were doing the games with Invisible Playground, which is games on the street and games on a square, and people come to us and we explain them the rules, give out some equipment, and they're off and play, we realized that saying the rules is kind of a performance. When you have to get people involved, you will have the rules, where to go, how to interact with other people, but if there is a short kind of a performance with the story, it helps people not just to get their mind on the game, but also to interpret the rules. And then there was one funny thing we started to do after we say the rules, and we learned it from Slingshot, from England, who did a big fox hunt on the w00t Festival in Berlin. We invited them to do it, and they did a chant kind of stuff before they let the people run and be foxes and hunters and running through the city. And I would like to join this chant now, that you joining, and imagine that you just got the rules. For example, you're going to go out and chase aliens, and you're going to run around and look around the corner and maybe use a walkie-talkie. But before that, please repeat after me. I am not invincible. I cannot run through walls. I am not faster than a car. If I run into a biker, that might hurt. Thank you very much. Now you're off. So, and this is funny because you get the rules, and then this is, obviously you know that you cannot run through walls, but if you're in a game and you don't, you lose yourself in the game, you still might need to remember this. So I will talk about like running through a wall being kind of an implicit rule of urban environment. I don't have to put it on the rule card, but you will know by yourself. But let's come back to this a bit later when I give you some context also again about the games we do. There is a format, the field office, which is a good example to tell about site-specific games. Actually, we ran the field office in Budapest and Prague 2 years ago, and in August there will be a field office also in Copenhagen. And this is a format which produces site-specific games. We choose a site, we go there for a week, we do research, we map dynamics of passenger flows, we look at the schedule of the tram, we map the architecture obviously, and we collect stories of people, fantasies, fears and facts. And now what we plan to do is even look more on Wi-Fi coverage, located tweets in the environment, Flickr images that people took on the site we've chosen, or even maybe in a bigger radius. So we map out a lot of things and then build game mechanics that use these things, do a bit of testing, and then release a tour with several smaller games which are really made for the site. And the rules of the site and the rules of the game somehow work together in the playing experience. Let me give you some examples from. Actually, the first example is not a field office game. This 360-degree Tron. This is where our office is. You might see the small a. This is about where our Berlin office is. There is a round architecture, and we made a game where people like nucleons or atoms go around and collide and have to turn if they collide, and the aim is to get around, but it's not easy because other people come also. So it's kind of using this circle as a track. And so it's, in this case, it's architecture, which we made very heavy use of. And then there is the game Sheeps and Wolves. It's an audio game where you are a part of a flock of sheeps. Every sheep has headphones, and it's connected to this device, and you walk with your flock looking for green meadows and something to eat, and you pass waterfalls and caves, and which is obviously like an entrance of a shop or like a fountain in the city. So there is a fictional layer just put on the environment. So there we set a lot of rules, because like you get a symbolic, a fictional layer on top of the architecture, and you could play it everywhere. You just have to reinvite the story. And then there is unwanted entities, where we used the social dynamics of the site. That was in Budapest, in a very urban hub, the shopping center, train station, and in the underground there were a lot of homeless people. And this is like there is no real solution in Budapest for how to care about these people. Actually, the only real action targeting them is police and security, like harassing them, so they go up the stairs if the police makes the round, and the police make the round, they go down, and this is like a perpetuated hide and seek. They unwanted there. This is what the policeman said. They are the unwanted entities. So we made the game Unwanted Entities, where you just have playing figures, these small figures, like in this simple toy games, like you have a red team and a blue team and a gray team, and you occupy properties, which are circles on the chart. They have different values. I'm not going to go into the game very much. It's just that there are also gray figures, and you push the gray figures, but there is no gray team. So every team, red, green, and blue, just pushes the gray figures towards properties of lower value, so that they can have the properties of higher value and just set their figures on them and score. And but if people, like pedestrians, come and kick your figures, you lost the figures, you lost the property. So in the game, if you realize that the high value properties are next to it, let's say the subway exit, where there are lots of people coming from time to time, like every 3 minutes, like 50, 100 people walking out there, you kind of have to protect your property, and you might even ask people to protect your property. Like, you could involve people if you're very motivated to do the game. So, and now I would come to implicit rules. For example, the explicit rules say protect your property, because if someone kicks out your figure, you lose it. And and there is like social norms, what to ask completely strangers on the street, or social norms, how like everybody has a different thresholds, how to involve complete strangers in helping to the game. This is we don't put it in the rules. It's not one of the explicit rules. It's up to everybody. For example, to ask strangers to protect their field. And another example for maybe a better example for what could be what is really an explicit rule. This is a rule card. We like to do these to help people, but actually the performance, which I was talking about, and when you tell the rules, is much more important, but we give this to people because then players feel more secure, and it's a nice giveaway. So we did a game on a beach at Terschelling last year, Lies in the Sand. This is the image with the beach, where we were drawing an imaginary city of 80 by 190, or 90 by 180 meters, and we had streets and squares, and you had to find happiness and push each other out of the street. But anyway, rule number 2 says, stay inside marked areas, never step outside the line. This is like a very explicit rule. If we wouldn't say it, people would walk outside the line because they can. But then there is a game, the other picture is a map with playing zones. There was a game, Ruhrzilla, in the German city Mülheim last year, where you didn't have to explicitly say, walk on the street and don't walk through the wall, because you can't. So this is like a very clear difference between things you put explicitly and things that like implicit, and how all these implicit rules, they work because we have experiences with urban space. It's like there is this concept of affordance. I think designers are aware of that there are things in the city that allow you to do certain things with them because their shape and size and how they work, they fit your body somehow. You can sit on it, you can lean on it, and even like you you made experience while you were growing up in the city. You just look at something and you know what you can do with it. You don't even think about it. You just implicitly you build up this knowledge you use, but you maybe are not even aware of, and it works. Also social norms. You grew up in your society, and there is like you don't step on people's foot for no reason on the street. So there are all these implicit rules, and what happens actually, and this is, let's say, a discussion I personally interested about, and which I would like articulate now and maybe discuss with you. That I told in the beginning that we're mapping things in the city we want to use for game mechanics, and some of these are things you could call hard architecture, like the walls and the rail and things like this. And some of it is soft architecture, then Wi-Fi coverage. Now we have some radio waves, and there is light, and there is the stories people uploaded to Twitter on the map, and it's in this space because it somehow connects to this space. So all this soft stuff. So if we do games that involve this soft stuff and do them in the explicit rules, and say, for example, if you come to an area where all the photos uploaded are about biking, then turn left, or if you have some explicit rules that using this soft stuff, players might make more experiences with this stuff, and also this implicit knowledge about you cannot run through or came all your experiences, what these things allowed to do. So this is, I think, and this is the question actually, like when you do games and you put soft things into the explicit rules, that people playing the city build up another implicit knowledge of what is going around of them. So you make, by doing the games, you make this soft stuff hard. So thank you very much. I hope we can discuss this.